Good morning. Now, yesterday we find out the stresses and the elongation when the composite material is there, when the rod is of different material connected in series. Okay. In continuation with that, today, initially we are going to learn how to find out the deformation of taper rod. The formula which we have used, delta L equal to PL upon AE, is applicable when the rod is of uniform cross-sectional area. It may be the circular, rectangular, or any other cross-section. But we can use that delta L equal to PL upon AE when the cross-sectional area is uniform. Now, today we are going to learn deformation of uniformly tapered rod under the action of axial force. Now, under this, now it is a tapering rod and the taper is uniform. Okay, so deformation of the uniformly tapered rod. Under this, there are two different type of rod we are going to consider. One is the circular rod, cross-sectional area is circular, and other one is a rectangular one. Okay, how to find out the deformation of the uniformly tapered circular rod first? Now let's consider one circular rod which is a taper. Cross section is circular but taper, and this taper is uniform. Okay, let's consider this is the axis. Let the length of the rod is L. Let this diameter is D1. This is a solid circular section. And let this diameter is D2. It is a circular taper rod. Okay, this rod is uniform cross-sectional area. But if it is a circular but taper, how to find out the deformation? Okay, now when this rod, taper, uniformly taper rod of circular section is subjected to axial force P, it is subjected to an axial force P. This diameter is D1, this diameter is D2, length is L, and modulus of elasticity is E. For this material, E is the modulus of elasticity. E is the modulus of elasticity for this material. Elastic modulus. Okay. Now, how to find out the deformation of this? Now, definitely that formula delta L equal to PL upon E, or by calculating the stress and strain, we cannot calculate the deformation because stress varies as the cross-sectional area varies. Okay. Now, how to find out the deformation? To find out the deformation, what I am going to do, let's consider a small elemental strip. Consider a small elemental strip of thickness dx at a distance of x from smaller n. It is at a distance of x from the smaller n. Now, since this taper rod is subjected to an axial force P, and if I consider a small part of this, it is a slice of that taper rod. Okay, if I show the three-dimensional view, here then the three-dimensional view of this slice is like this. This thickness is dx, and since it is very small thickness, here the entire rod is taper, but since it is a very small thickness, this can be considered as a cylindrical disc. It is a cylindrical. For this much thickness, we can consider that a diameter is same. cross-sectional area is same for this much thickness. The total length, the cross-sectional area is different. Since this is a very, very small thickness, the cross-sectional area can be considered as a uniform. Now, this rod is subjected to an axial force P. If it is subjected to an axial force P, this part, the axial force acting on this disc, will also be the force P. Yesterday I told you that, how to find out the axial force. To find out the axial force, you are supposed to consider one imaginary section through that part and take the algebraic summation on any one part. Means on this part also the axial force acting is P only. Here on this axial force acting is P. Okay. Now, for this strip, which is at a distance of x thickness dx, let this diameter is suppose d dash. Let this diameter is d dash. Okay, or you can write it as a de, whatever it may be. I'm considering it as a d dash. This diameter is d dash. Okay. Now, for this elemental strip whose thickness is dx, and for this much small thickness, if we consider the diameter or cross-sectional area is uniform, so for this, I can use this formula for deformation. For this disc, I can use that formula of deformation. Means this deformation of the elemental strip, I can write here it is axial force is P, length is dx upon cross-sectional area pi by 4 into d dash square into modulus of elasticity. This is the formula of deformation for this small elemental strip. And to find out the total deformation of this rod over the length of L meter, here I will integrate it here, which in which the x varies from 0 to L. Understood this? Here, this is the basic concept. Here, it is an integration. I am considering the number of strips. I will calculate the deformation of each strip, and to calculate the total deformation, I will add the deformation of each of the strip. That is nothing but an integration. So to calculate the total deformation, let integrate it, you will get the answer. But before that, let calculate this d dash square. Okay, or let calculate this d dash here. So for this elemental strip, this d dash equal to how much is this d dash? Yeah. Now here we can use the property of similar triangle. Okay. Now for your understanding, what I will do, I will consider only the half part. Okay. And from this one, I will draw one horizontal line. Here, means how much is this much length? This total length is d2. Okay. This one is d1. I have drawn the horizontal line parallel to the axis from this one. So this one is d1 here, and because of the symmetry, this length and this length will be same. So if this is d1, then this plus this equal to d2 minus d1. d2 minus d1, you will get this. And if I want to calculate only this much, then this is d1 minus d2 minus d1 upon 2. So this length here, if I say it as a y, here then this y equal to d2 minus d1 upon 2. Okay, this much length. Clear? Now from this y, now consider this triangle, which is a right angle triangle. Okay, now I want to calculate this height, which is y dash. Let this height is y dash. Okay, now how I can get the y dash? By using the property of similar triangle. In this triangle, I can use the property of similar triangle in this bigger triangle and in this smaller triangle. Here for bigger triangle, the base is L, height is y, and for the smaller triangle, the base is x, because this strip is at a distance of x from this point. So at a distance of x, the height is y dash. So we can use the property of similar triangle here. So by using the property of similar triangle, here you can refer any book, you will get this derivation. Okay, write that derivation in a proper way. I will just explain you the concept over here. So this y dash equal, y dash upon y equal to this base x upon L. From this one, I can write down this y dash equal to this x upon L into y. Okay, yeah. So I'm writing it over here. So this y dash equal to, it is x upon L into what is this y? Y is d2 minus d1 upon 2. Or for your understanding, better understanding, I'm making small change. And instead of considering these are the D1, D2, it may be confused, may get confused because of this. I'm considering these are the D dash only, but this bigger diameter I'm going to denote it as a capital D. This smaller diameter I'm going to denote it by small d. Okay, and this diameter is D dash. Here, so this Y dash become, by using the property of similar triangle, here this is Y dash, this is Y, this is H, this is L. Here, that is I am going to use this Y dash upon Y equal to X upon L. From this one, I can write Y dash equal to X upon L into Y, which is equal to X upon L into Y is what? This Y, this can be written as capital D minus small d upon 2. Okay, this is capital D, this smaller diameter is small d. Here, so this Y equal to capital D minus small d upon 2 because of symmetry. Okay, this is Y dash. Here, now this is the diameter of elemental strip, which we are denoted by D dash. So this D dash equal to this D small d plus 2Y dash. This we have considered as a Y dash. Okay, so this D dash equal to small d plus 2Y dash, which is equal to this small d diameter at the smaller end plus 2Y dash, that is 2x, or it is 2x upon L into D minus D upon 2. This 2 get cancelled, so you will get D plus X into D minus D upon L. Okay, this is the diameter of the elemental strip D dash equal to small d, this diameter, plus X, the distance of that elemental strip, into capital D minus small d upon L. This becomes the diameter of that elemental strip. Yeah, so this diameter we have to use over here. Okay, now, or I can write down the area of the elemental strip, cross-sectional area of elemental strip. This cross-sectional area of elemental strip, let's denote it as a dash, which is equal to pi by 4 into this D dash square, that is D plus X into D minus D upon L whole square. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ritik Gupta. Hello? Ritik Gupta, unmute yourself and answer my call. Ritik Gupta. Ritik Gupta from Civil, unmute yourself and answer my call. Hello? Ritik Gupta, unmute yourself and answer my call. So cross-sectional area of the elemental strip A dash equal to pi by 4 into D plus X into D minus D upon L whole square. Okay. Now we calculate the cross-sectional area of this elemental strip. Here, so deformation of the elemental strip. Deformation of elemental strip. Deformation of elemental strip. Here, okay, delta LE, E for elemental strip, which is equal to P into dx upon pi by 4, or this cross-sectional area, it is pi by 4 into D plus, I'm taking the rectangular bracket, D plus X into D minus D upon L whole square. okay, into E. Understood this? Any doubt? Okay, I'm writing again once here. Then this deformation of the elemental strip, I will just rearrange this. It is 4p upon pi e. This 4 will go in numerator, 4p upon pi into e into this, in bracket, it is d plus x into, in bracket, it is d minus d upon L whole square into dx. It is dx, which is the length of that elemental strip. Okay, so this is the deformation of that elemental strip. Here now to calculate the total deformation. Total deformation of taper rod, taper circular rod. Here this delta L equal to, you have to integrate this. It is integration of 4p upon pi e into, in bracket, d plus x into d minus d upon L whole square into dx, where x varies from 0 to L. Okay. Now simplify this integration, you will get the deformation. Formula for the deformation of the taper rod. Okay, so it is delta L equal to this 4p upon pi e constant into integration of 1 upon d plus x into d minus d upon L whole square. Sorry, whole square. D plus x into d minus d upon L whole square into dx, or with respect to x, where the limit varies from 0 to L. Now let's simplify this. It is 4p upon pi e into this integration 1 upon x square. Integration is minus 1 upon x, so minus 1 upon d plus x into d minus d upon L into 1 upon a, coefficient of x, upon d minus d upon L. I hope that you know the integration. Okay, simple integration, not that difficult. Now, if I simplify this, it is minus 4pl upon, sorry, minus, this minus I am taking outside, so minus 4p upon pi e into this 1 upon this term, so it is L upon d minus d into, in bracket, it is 1 upon d plus x into d minus d upon L. Okay, where limit, I forgot to substitute the limit, 0 to L, 0 to L. Okay, now if you substitute the limit and if we simplify this, if you substitute the limit and if you simplify this here, you will get the formula delta L equal to 4pl upon pi capital D into small d into E. Okay, here just simplify. Now simplification is not that difficult. Substitute the limit here and you will get the simplification. It is not that difficult. Okay, if you substitute this L here, then this L get cancelled, this D get cancelled, you will get 1 upon D here. And if you substitute the lower limit, then x equal to 0, so this term becomes 0 minus 1 upon D. Here, after substituting the limit, this bracket becomes like this, 1 upon D minus 1 upon small d. And then if you simplify, here, if you multiply by this term inside the bracket, here, you will get this term. Okay, so it is 4pl upon pi d into E. This is the deformation of the uniformly tapered circular rod. Okay, and this is the procedure. You have to remember the procedure also. It is not like just by remembering the formula you can solve the sum. You have to remember the procedure also. If the sum is little bit different, if similar type of question is there, you can do it easily. But some different type of question is there. Here then you have to use this procedure only, basic procedure. For example, here I'll give one homework for you people. Yeah, so remember this formula, delta L equal to PL upon pi D into D into E. Remember this formula is for the uniformly taper circular solid rod. Okay. Now, by using the same procedure, you have to find out the deformation of, this is the circular rod, okay, subjected to an axial force P. This diameter is small d, this diameter is capital D, this length is L. Okay. Now this is similar to this. Here for this you can directly use this formula. Here but I am making small changes. Here let this taper rod is not a solid taper rod, solid circular taper rod, but there is one, this is the axis. There is one circular hole is there throughout the length. Here, let the diameter of this circular hole is suppose D1. And now you have to find out the deformation of this rod. Okay, here you can't use this formula. Understood? Here because area and everything will be different. So this is for homework. Here you use the same procedure. Consider one elemental strip, calculate its diameter, then calculate its area, then find out the deformation of that elemental strip, and to calculate the total deformation, integrate it. Here, just try this sum. Here, this is for homework. Here, whenever I'll ask you, then at that time you have to submit it on the Google Classroom as an assignment. Okay. Here, so this is homework. To calculate the deformation of this. Here, the second homework is here this rectangular, uniformly taper, solid but rectangular rod. Okay, same procedure you have to follow. Okay, now here, what is this? This is also the uniformly taper rod, but it is not circular. It is subjected to an axial force P. Here, this end is a rectangular one. Okay, here side view is like this. It is rectangle, and here also it is rectangle. Throughout the length, this thickness is constant. This is the thickness. Thickness is constant. Thickness is not going to change. This width is going to change. Let here at the smaller end the width is A, at this bigger end let the width is B. Here means if I want to show the three-dimensional figure, this will look like this. Okay, so this thickness is uniform. Okay, only this width is changing. Here from small a to small b, here over the length of L meter, uniformly changing. Okay, so here also you have to take one small elemental strip. Consider one small elemental strip like this of thickness dx at a distance of x. Here calculate this width. Here let it is you can say it as a d1. Okay, same concept you have to use. यहाँ पे जो concept use किया, same concept you have to use here to calculate that d1. Okay, then area of this elemental strip. Now area won't be pi by 4 into d square because it is not circular. It is a rectangular. So according to that you have to change the area. Here you have to imagine what will be the area of this elemental strip. Here on which that force P is acting. Such type of strip is there on which this force P is acting. So cross sectional area, the height or depth is d1 and the thickness is T. So area is d1 into T here, and then you have to calculate the deformation of this elemental strip and then integrate it over the limit of 0 to L. Here, so this is for homework. Okay, and for this is the formula. For this rectangular, so for this don't remember the formula, but for rectangular you have to remember the formula. And for rectangular, the formula comes out to be, okay, it is delta L equal to, it is PL upon T into E into in bracket A minus B into log of A upon B. Here, this is the formula. Okay. Here in this integration, here it is 1 upon x square term comes, because it is the area pi by 4 into d square. That's why it is a 1 upon x square. Here in this one, when we integrate, the term comes 1 upon x, whose integration is log x, and that's why here comes log. Okay, simplify that and find out. Okay, so these two examples are for homework. Any doubt? Now we'll solve the sums on this. Here, the PDF which is given to you. In that one sum is there. In which you have to find out the deformation. I'll just explain you. Will not solve. You solve yourself. Very easy question. One rod, some part is a uniform circular one, and second part is a taper circular. This is a taper circular rod. Yes, a type of rod is there. AB part is a uniform circular area, and BC part is a circular taper area. This length is 1000. This is given to you sum number 10, and this length is 2500. Okay, this diameter is 100 and this diameter is 200. Means this BC part is a taper part whose diameter varies from 100 to 200. This here small d is 100, capital D is 200. Now this part is subjected to some axial forces. Here it is 50 kilonewton at A. At intermediate point B there is a 75 kilonewton. And at C there is a compressive force of 25 kilonewton. Okay, there is no any unknown force, and just cross check whether the under the action of this axial forces this rod is in equilibrium or not. Here, so on left hand side the forces acting towards left are 75 and towards right 75. So to balance each other, and the rod is in equilibrium. Okay, now we have to find out the deformation. Exactly similar procedure what we have solved yesterday. To find out the axial force on each part, you have to consider the FBD of each part. So this is a circular one and this is a taper one. Clear? The axial force acting on this part AB. To find out that, consider one imaginary section and take the algebraic summation of forces on any one side. On left hand side there is only one force, 50 kilonewton. So here also there will be 50 kilonewton because this part will also be in equilibrium, whose diameter is 100, length is 1000. Now for this taper, consider one imaginary section through the taper. I take the algebraic summation of all forces on any one side. So on right hand side there is only one compressive force of 25 kilonewton, and to balance this here must be a compressive force of 25 kilonewton. Okay, this is the part BC. So you have to find out the total deformation. Here total deformation is equal to the algebraic summation of the deformation of this part plus this part. Principle of superposition. But you will observe that this part BC is subjected to the compressive and this part is subjected to the tensile. Means because of this tensile axial force there will be an increase in length, here there will be a decrease in length. Okay, so for that I am writing, to get the total deformation I will write delta L of AB minus delta L of BC. Here this elongation will take positive, compression will take negative. So that we will get the final deformation. Okay, now for this delta L AB, you can use this formula PL upon AE, deformation because of this axial force. But the same formula can be used over here. Here for this BC part, which is the taper one, you have to use this formula. Here, so for this BC, the formula is 4PL upon pi into capital D into small d into E. Use the appropriate forces, length, area, Here, and just substitute the value, you'll get the answer. Okay, in this way you can calculate the deformation of the taper rod. Clear? But here again, in this taper rod, if there is some circular hole, here, instead of remembering the formula for that, I will suggest go by using the basic principle. Here, by integration, you have to solve the deformation of this. Okay. Then the next part. Now, till now, what we have solved, we have calculated the deformation. Okay. In this one, we have calculated the deformation because of the axial forces acting on the component. We have not considered the deformation of a rod or deformation of a beam because of the self weight. Okay. Now remember, when the beam is horizontal, okay, in that case the self weight acting downward, yeah, and there won't be any effect of the axial self weight on axial forces. Okay. Yeah, and if the rod or the object is vertical, suppose vertical rod is there, suppose it is fixed at one end and other end is free. Now the self weight act vertically downward and it will be axial. Okay. Now because of this self weight, this rod may get deformed. So we have to calculate what will be the deformation of this rod because of the self weight. In most of the cases, here if the length of the rod is very small, here this deformation because of the self weight is very less and we can neglect or ignore that. And it happens again on vertical rod only, horizontal it is again very negligible, so you won't consider that because there won't be any effect of the load or the weight on the axial force. Because axial force is horizontal and load is vertical. Yeah, and here also, if the length is very small, here the effect of that deformation because of the self weight is very, very less, and hence we can ignore that. But when the length is very large, in that case, sometimes it is necessary to calculate that. Okay, so how to calculate the deformation of a rod because of the self weight? Okay, deformation due to the self weight. Now let's consider this is the rod. I told you that it happens, or you can see this deformation only in vertical rod. So let this vertical rod whose length is L suspended at fixed at top to the ceiling or to the support, and other end is free, no any axial force acting. We have to find out the deformation of this rod over the length of L meters because of its self weight. Okay, so let L is the length, A is the cross sectional area, and E is the modulus of elasticity for this rod. Okay, now let the rho, which is the property of that material, and it is the weight density. Let rho is the weight density. Okay, we know that the weight density is the weight per unit volume. Here, rho is the weight density, or you can see it as a specific weight here, and it is the weight per unit volume. Okay, it is not the mass density, it is the weight, we are considering it as a weight density. Okay, now we have to find out the deformation because of the self weight. Yeah, for that, what I am going to consider, let's consider one small elemental strip here at a distance of x from the bottom. Okay, yeah, means when I consider this small elemental strip here, let thickness is dx. The axial force acting on this strip here from the bottom side, if I consider this elemental strip whose thickness is dx, cross-sectional area is A here. Now on this small elemental strip Here, the axial force acting is equal to the weight of this much part. Weight of this part will act as axial force on the small elemental strip. If I consider the strip over here, on the strip, the axial force is equal to the weight of this part, which is below that, not above that. Okay, here, so axial force acting on this part, let it is P. Here, and this P is equal to the weight of material below the section. Okay. Here also we are going to use the same concept. We are going to calculate the deformation of the small elemental strip, and to calculate the total deformation, we'll integrate that. Okay. So deformation of elemental strip delta LE, which is equal to, it is P into length of that strip dx upon area. I'm writing it as a only. Here it is PL upon AE. This is the deformation of the small elemental strip. Here, where P is equal to the weight of this area. Here, now if for this material rho is the weight density, then weight of this area is equal to rho into volume. Here, this is equal, P equal to weight below the section, and this weight can be written as rho into volume of that particular material. Rho is the property, it is a weight density. So weight into volume gives you the weight. Here, which is equal to rho into, how much is the volume of this part? It is cross-sectional area into length, because it is a uniform cross-sectional area. When uniform cross-sectional area is there, then cross-sectional area into length gives you the volume. Here, so this P equal to rho into A into L. Here, this P equal to weight. Which weight? Weight below the section, not the total weight. Below the section, because this weight only acting on this particular elemental strip. Here, so P equal to rho AL. I'll substitute it here. It is P equal to, it is rho into, sorry, I made a mistake. A small mistake is there. Can anybody suggest what is the mistake?
वो वहां पे x आएगा
Where?
l की जगह पे.
Here there will be X and not L, because we are considering only the weight of this much part. So we have to consider the volume of this part only. It is the cross-sectional area into X and not the L. If I take L, it will be the total volume. The total weight won't act on this. Here on this elemental strip, only this much weight will act. Here, so it is rho A into X. Here, so P equal to rho A into X upon A into E into dx. Here A get cancelled, so which is equal to rho x upon E into dx. This is the deformation of the small elemental strip because of the self weight. Here, remember, this x is the length of the part below this. Yeah, then total deformation due to the self weight. Total deformation due to the self weight is equal to, we have to integrate it. Let integrated rho into x upon E into dx, where x varies from 0 to L. Here, which is equal to, it is rho upon E into integration of x with respect to x. Here, it is x square upon 2. Here, 0 to L. So, delta L equal to rho into L square upon 2E. This is the deformation of the rod due to the self weight. Okay, deformation due to the self weight. It is rho L square upon 2E. Correct. Understood this? Yeah. Any doubt? So if it is asked to calculate the deformation of a rod here, then you have to consider this much length to calculate the total deformation. Okay, here just remember, it is the deformation because of the weight of that particular material. Here, in most of the cases, we are ignoring this here, but when the length is very large here, then you have to consider that. Okay, any doubt? This derivation, from exam point of view, the derivation is important. Okay. Now, only 10 minutes are remaining. So, in that one, when sum is given to you, we'll solve that sum. And in next lecture, we'll solve the stresses induced in a composite material. Listen, I'm not going to wait for you people to write all these things. You write simultaneously along with me. Or if you want to write it later, here take the screenshot and write it later. Okay. When you will come to the college, at that time I will check your notebook. Here, everything should be written in your notebook. It may happen that notebook itself you have to submit as an assignment or as a term work. Here, don't know what will happen in the future. Here, but keep the record properly. Okay. Now, one sum which is given in your book, here sum number 8, here in that one, this is one step rod. Okay. This diameter is given as 20 millimeter. This diameter is given as 15 millimeter. This length is 2 meter. This length is 3 meter. And this rod is fixed at the top. It is a solid rod. This point is A, B, and B. It is a solid rod which is supported at top end. Okay. Now, this rod is used to give the support to one rigid rod. This is again another rigid rod. Okay. This is one another rigid rod which is supported at one end with the help of hinge. A, this point is B, and this point is C. This distance is 3 meter. This is 1 meter. Okay. Here, this tape rod is rigidly connected to this here. It is a rigid connection. Okay. Here, and this is used to give the support to this rod, horizontal rod. And in the sum, it is given that this rod is a rigid rod, and one external force P is applied at its free end here, whose magnitude is 75 kilonewton. This P equal to 75 kilonewton. Okay, because of this 75 kilonewton, what you have to find out? Determine A, the maximum stress developed in the member. In this member, here, how much is the maximum stress developed because of that 75 kilonewton force? And the total elongation of this member. You have to calculate the total deformation of this member because of the 75 kilonewton. Now, you observe that the first thing is that. Okay, it is a hinge, so rotational motion is allowed. When I apply the force 75 kilonewton at point C, because of that, one reactive force is generated over here. Here, this reactive force will not allow this. Yeah, if I consider the FBD of this rod, and it is given that it is a rigid rod, so don't think that sir, ये bend हो गया तो क्या होगा? Here, so it will not bend because it is a rigid rod. Okay, so if I consider FBD of this rod ABC, here at point A, there is a hinge support, so we have to show the two components of reactive forces, vertical component and horizontal component of reactive force at point A. At point C, one vertically downward force of 75 kilonewton is acting. Here, and at this point B, when we apply the force P, this step rigid rod will give the support to this rod. It will not allow that downward motion or rotational motion about point A. Here, it will apply the force upward. That is the reactive force exerted by this rod BDE on this horizontal rod ABC. यहाँ पे एक reactive force generate होगा. And this reactive force will be the axial force acting on this. Okay. Here, now what will be the reactive force? Now when I apply the force here, this B tends to move downward. Here, but this step rod will apply the reactive force upward. Means because of this force, both the rod will be under tension. इसकी effect की वजह से this tends to move downward, and because of that, these both are under tension. Means the reactive force which is generated over here is a tensile in nature. This reactive force is equal and opposite, but the nature is a tensile. Tensile means it acts away from the body under consideration. Here, so this is the reactive axial force. I am denoting it as a R. Reactive force acting at point B. Here, this distance is 3 meter, this is 1 meter. This rod is remain in equilibrium because of this reactive force exerted by this rod. And this is the reaction exerted by this rod on this rod. Here, now apply the condition of equilibrium, you will get this reactive force R. If I use summation of, I am interested only to get this R. I am not interested in to calculate this HA and VA. So I have to eliminate that. I can eliminate that by taking the moment about point A. If I take the moment about point A, moment of HA, VA becomes 0, it will get eliminated. So if I take the moment about point A, moment of R is R into 3 minus 75 into 4 equal to 0. So R equal to 75 into 4, 300 divided by 3, that is R equal to 100 kilonewton. This is the reactive force exerted by this rod on this beam ABC. Now, when I consider FBD of this rod, equal amount of axial force is acting on this, equal and opposite. Here it is in tension. Here, so this reactive force will act away because it is equal and opposite of this, which is equal to 100 kilonewton. No intermediate force is there. Here, so if this is 100 kilonewton at this end also, now it is a fixed. Here, now if it is a fixed, remember, then there is a fixed support. Here, normally we consider the vertical component, horizontal component, and reactive moment also. But it induces only when there is a vertical force, horizontal force are acting on a beam. अगर ऐसा beam है, here, तो ये horizontal component को balance करने के लिए इसमें horizontal component लगेगा. ये vertical force को balance करने के लिए इसमें vertical force लगेगा. और इसका जो moment है, वो moment balance करने के लिए इसमें reactive moment लगेगा. Okay, that's why we normally consider it as a 3 component. But here, only one force is acting. This is the only force is acting over here. इसको balance करने के लिए ऐसा force लगेगा. Horizontal component 0 होगा because there is no any horizontal force acting on that. Here, and again reactive moment will also be 0 because the moment produced by this force about this point is 0. Its line of action is passing through that point. And that's why the moment produced by this force is also 0, so there won't be any reactive moment also. So on this part, since only one axial force is acting, the reaction at this fixed end is also axial and only one component, and it is equal to this 100 kilonewton. Horizontal component reactive moment will not be there. If you consider and if you apply, here you will get it as a 0. Okay, so this step rod is subjected to the 100 kilonewton. This 100 kilonewton force is induced in this one because of this 75 kilonewtons. Okay, so this is 2 meter, this is 3 meter, this is 520, and this is 515. The sum becomes like a similar to the previous yesterday's question. You have to calculate the total deformation. So total deformation is equal to deformation of the part BD plus deformation of the part DE. Both parts are subjected to the same axial force. मतलब दोनों part में P same है. There won't be any intermediate force P. So in this one the axial force is same. E is same. Only this length of BD upon area of BD plus length of DE upon area of DE. Just substitute and get the answer, will get delta. Then it is asked to calculate the maximum stress in this one. Now you will observe that in both the parts the axial force is same. इसमें भी 100 है, इसमें भी 100 है. And I told you that when the axial force is same, the maximum stress is induced in the part whose cross-sectional area is minimum. So under the action of this 100 kilonewton axial force, the maximum stress is induced in the part BD. No need to calculate the stresses in both the parts and compare them. Since the axial force is same, the maximum stress is induced in a part whose cross-sectional area is less. Yeah? So in this case, the maximum stress in part BD, which is equal to, here it is 100 kilonewton force divided by cross-sectional area pi by 4 into 15 square. Here you will get this stress, which will be the maximum stress. Directly, just by observation, you will come to know in which part the maximum stress will induce. Any doubt? Okay. Tomorrow we'll solve one. Learn one very important topic, that is the stresses induced in a composite material when they are rigidly connected, like a column. Here, this column. In the column, there are two different material, concrete is there and steel is there. They are rigidly connected. And when some axial force is acting on that, how to calculate the stresses and how to calculate the deformation, that we are going to learn tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.